Thanks.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Slasher Scotty. I am your host Scotty Mccoy, and boy do I have a surprise for you. I have on Zoom with me right now Lee Arenberg, and he played Grumpy and Leroy in Once Upon a Time. Hey Lee, how you doing?
What's up, my man? What's up, Slash? How you doing, kiddo?
I'm doing good. I'm so glad to have you on. I'm so glad we could set this up. This is exciting.
Man. Well, I mean, you snuck it in towards the end of the pandemic.
Absolutely. So the first question I got for you is, how did you get your start into acting?
I found it when I was in school. I just, when I was a kid, I liked doing the school theater stuff. And basically that's my start, although I didn't, then I went and pursued theater. I studied it in college as well. So it was kind of like my sport.
Nice.
You know what I mean? That's kind of how I found it.
Awesome.
I wish there was a better story to it, but I mean, I kind of good schools, good teachers, learning to read, and a good imagination will do it.
Right, and once you get bit by the bug, you're stuck in, right?
I mean, really, there's easier pathways in life, but if you got to do it, you got to do it.
Absolutely. So next question isn't about Once Upon a Time, but I am a huge Seinfeld fan, as is my dad. So what was it like working on Seinfeld as Mike?
Oh my God. Well, I mean, first of all, we got to know this about Seinfeld. They let the guest star be funny. They write funny stuff for the guest, right? And a lot of times on sitcom, you might get some funny stuff, but you're not going to get the funny stuff.
Right.
Seinfeld let the funny stuff go wherever it had to go for the story. So Mike Moffat got to be crazy and yell at Kramer and call Jerry a phony. Right. And all that stuff that's legendary. So kudos. A lot of the secret to great TV and especially great comedy is going to come down to great writing. And, just also, I got to give props to Jerry, Larry David, Larry Charles, the brain trust, behind it. Talented cats.
Absolutely.
Why it's still funny, though, right? I mean, it's still funny almost 30 years later. We're still laughing at jokes, because it's well written about our human condition.
Right.
So we can all relate to our lives through the lives of these New Yorkers in the 90s.
Absolutely. And it really was a show about quote unquote nothing. Like it was everything that happens in real life pretty much.
Yeah. So it was sort of a show about everything.
Right.
Right. I mean, that you just never know. One week is a muffin top. Another week it's, who knows what it is, a guy fighting over a parking space.
Absolutely.
Exactly. These were, if you think about it, they're the most messed up characters. It's why they end up in jail at the end.
Right. Yeah.
Because all the crazy characters who we think are crazy, from Mr. Pitt to the Yankee people, they come out and represent the establishment. They're just as nutty as the Seinfeld characters, but at the end, they're the ones there to convict them.
Absolutely. Yeah. So are you a head first parker?
I'll park whatever way I have to. I'd rather back my way in, truly, but I'm got enough room, baby. Go in front first.
Absolutely. So regarding Once Upon a Time, what was your audition like for that?
You know what? My audition for once was just like a pretty regular audition.
Right.
Go in and read, and they record it, and you hope you get lucky. I mean,
right.
It was a lucky break, though, that I don't think there were that many people that they were looking at for that part. I loved playing that part.
That was great, and I absolutely love Grumpy, and of course your counterpart Leroy. Like, just the scream when the curse is here, it's here.
Totally. He was the town crier.
Yep.
He was like best friends. He was like the uncle. I mean, it was really a perfect. They really nailed that show.
Yeah.
In terms of especially who we would be in the fairy tale world, and then who we were in Storybrooke.
Absolutely.
And the way that town sort of functioned.
Yeah. It was a brilliant.
Yeah, I miss it, bro. But on to the next. Like that's part of the deal of the actor thing. We're we're vagabonds.
Yeah.
We're nomads. You know, we form a family for 7 years, and then we split up, and we see each other, you know, online or in conventions or occasionally, you know, throughout life.
Absolutely. Yeah, and right, and I know that that like it was on Netflix for up until like I believe August or something of last year, and then they took it off, of course, because it went over to Disney Plus.
Right.
I simply got Disney Plus only because of Once Upon a Time. Like I literally watched that show from start to finish, from season 1, episode 1, to all the way to the end of season 7. Now it would vary depending on the later seasons, but all the way up at least till the end of season 5. I watched every single episode at least 13 to 14 times through. Dude, that's what I just counted.
You're a freaking super fan, bud.
I absolutely love the show, and I told you earlier before we started recording that I'm gonna be telling you a story then of Lana Parrilla and how she really influenced my life. Which I told her at the convention. I literally like saved up for months and months at my job. I basically went broke just trying to go meet her. It was a big influence. She was a big influence of it, and she's a big part of the show. And I even love, like, for example, when you go, like, at the end of it, when you bow down to her, because it's like, you know, you finally accept her as your queen.
It's come full circle, you know. Absolutely right. I'm just waiting on this delivery, so just please forgive me as I'm monitoring it.
Not a problem.
You'll have to edit it out. It's real life, though. You know, that's the thing. Like, you know, now we're doing these Zoom things from home. We're kind of waiting. Like, I'm half vaxxed. I'm ready back to engage society. Get back.
I know. Absolutely. Like I work for the U.S. Coast Guard, and I work from home. I'm the senior developer, their senior web developer, and I work from home because the pandemic, and I've been working from home for over a year now, and that, like, it benefits me for my interviews because I'm able to do my interviews, you know, at 3:00, because usually I work till 3, but now I work till 2 because of the pandemic. So I start an hour early and end an hour earlier, but I can do the interviews now at 3:00 exactly. Like if I work till 3, then until I get home with rush hour and everything and all that stuff. Like I can't do the interviews until like 5:00 Eastern time. It's ridiculous, but
but you know, it is what it is. But like at noon, like say on the West Coast where I'm at, like stuff's still happening.
Yes,
still right in the middle of the workday, you know what I mean?
Exactly. And there's a lot of celebrity guests that I have that they can do it at noon, but sometimes they'll tell me that, like, hey, can we push it back later in the day? I got an audition that came up, or they'll tell me a day before, hey, an audition came up, and obviously it's noon over on the Pacific side of things, over on the West Coast. So that's the way it works. I mean, the time zones really mess things up sometimes, but we always find a way to make it happen.
That's, the key is overcoming. You work for the Coast Guard, so the key is, improvising, adapting, and overcoming, right? Absolutely. I mean, it's you got to do it. You got to be functional,
Absolutely. So next question I got for you is, what was the best part about filming Once Upon a Time, and what was the worst?
I mean, I guess the best part is always going to be the people. Great people, like as you've just told about just Lana, but every single person on that show was so much fun. And I would say that sense of family, that was what we were bringing as the message of the show, of love and hope and family. We actually found that in each other as the actors on the show and the crew. So that was definitely the best of it. I miss those people. I miss being up in Canada. It was real neat, beautiful Vancouver. The worst part, I mean, the hardest part's always leaving home.
Yeah.
And not being here and missing stuff at home. And maybe sometimes it was a little chilly or wet or whatever, and it was late night, or you couldn't get great cell service. I mean, real champagne problems, bud.
I know, right? But
hey, territory, right? I mean, there is a sense of, you kind of have to drop a lot of things and go when they say go.
Right.
In the business, and that's probably the downside of it at times, but the benefits outweigh the negatives for sure.
Absolutely.
And many more positives than negatives out of the experience.
Right. So for example, when the evil queen threw Grumpy across the room, how was that all done?
Well, she did it a few times. I mean, sometimes there were times when she just would go like that, and I would just throw myself back. You know what I mean? Then there was another times when I was Vadered and she got me by the neck doing the full Vader thing, where I might be on a bit of a rig and they're like pulling me up into the air and holding me like that. Yeah, it's a mix of practical effects and acting, doing physical work, and the way they edit it. Occasionally, it's going to be a visual effect, like a smoke thing, or she zaps you with something. But most of the time, you just fake it, and they kind of edit it around it, fix it around it.
It's amazing what you can do with post-production editing, really. Like,
for sure. And and just the way they shoot it, right? And the way the screen direction, and they cut, and then you're over here, right?
Absolutely. It's
and
really,
the mind of the audience too. It's how they tell the story. A lot of it is, if I suddenly cut to my eyes and you think I'm hitting something, but you're only seeing my eyes up, right? And you hear a sound effect.
Absolutely.
Tell the story. It's a storytelling business there, Slash. We're here to tell stories, right?
Absolutely. So next question I got for you is, from your own personal opinion, which season of Once Upon a Time is your favorite and why?
Well, my favorite's the first season. Just because it was new, it was fresh, it was really exciting. And I think that was, and then because constantly getting my own mind blown by the story and where we were going and what we were doing. So, hey, hang on. All right, so let's cut right there for a sec.
All right, sounds good. Here we go. All righty, we're back.
We're back.
That's my cue of where I can put in the transition effect and do the cut from the end and
Oh yeah. You got to tell your story too, like we were talking about, right?
Absolutely. So I'll tell it right after this next part of the question. What season did you think was not the best? Like, what was the worst season in your opinion?
Oh, I mean, I don't think there was one that was the worst. Yeah, I don't think. I mean, like they're all different in their own way, and there was all cool stuff in each one. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think that's really a fair question to say what's the worst.
True. Good point.
I mean, just for me, from my experience, the last season, I wish I was in it more.
Yes.
I was in Seattle. I mean, but I'm not going to say it was the worst season or anything, but that's like, you personalize stuff and you go like, there was less me. I don't like that.
Right. Absolutely.
That's it. But I actually really enjoyed a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
And
it was totally different.
I like it. And I love what Jared got to do, and Andy West being on the show. He's a great guy. Yeah. So for me, it was great, and we're all along for the ride where the writers want to go. They're the boss. And so, I was willing to go wherever they went, and participate in any way. And that's kind of the thing. It's a team sport. Very much, acting and is it's an individual pursuit, but the sport itself is team sport. You're very rarely in a one-person show where you're doing the lighting, the costuming, publicity, sweeping the theater. It's rare that you're doing all that.
Absolutely.
Right? So there's a team effort.
Absolutely. I completely agree. I have a small indie production company. We just opened our casting call for our second full feature film, and I wouldn't be able to do it myself if it wasn't for my executive team. Like while I'm on my lunch break or while I'm taking little breaks here and there from work, like I'm texting my executive team like, did you do this today? Did you do that today? Do you need me to do this today? Like kind of like it's like you said, it's a team effort. Like you can really create you can do a one-person show and you can do it all by yourself, but it's like you said, a team effort for the most part. You're gonna have that family environment. You're gonna have that help. You're gonna have each person that brings their own specialties to the mix.
Right.
Yeah. So I'll tell you my story quick. So my dad in September of 2016 was diagnosed with stage 4 brain cancer. And they gave him a year and a half to survive it. He had to get emergency brain surgery. He had to eat, and then after that, he had a stroke, and they gave him 24 hours to live. It was the longest 24 hours of my life. And they did an MRI. They were going to do another brain operation, all of that on him. And thankfully, like he survived it, of course. And then after that and everything, they gave him a year and a half to live. But this September will be 5 years. He's still going. But what got me through my dad getting diagnosed through the brain surgery and everything is I was like in through I think it was my third time maybe watching Once Upon a Time on Netflix. And at the time, I think it was only up to like season 5 or something, or sort of something like that. And I was actually no, it was my first time watching it through because season 5 was where it ended, and that's around the time that Lana Parrilla started becoming, good. You know what I mean? Like she was getting her second chance at what you would say life, like, she would get her second chance being, with her son and all that. Okay. So I was thinking, like, because me and my dad just had a fight before his diagnosis, and I was getting brain surgery and all that. I thought I was watching the show, and Lana gave me hope that my dad's gonna have that second chance at a life where me and him can, I could say I'm sorry for that little fight we had, no matter how little it is. It was like I couldn't say I'm sorry before it and all that. So like I really, like, she gave me this this will to like move on and believe in and have hope that my dad's gonna actually get through all this, and let alone he did. And it was funny because this was in 2016, yes. And I met her at the convention the next year, and I watched Once Upon a Time multiple times over the course at that time. And I spent a lot of money just so I could meet Lana. Even at the auction that they were having, I spent, I think it was like $500 just on like that long thing of hers, so I can get another autograph ticket, just so she can autograph my dad, the book I wrote about my dad twice, and be the only autograph on the front of the cover of it, and all that, and so I could be near the front of the line and everything. And I met her at obviously I got my I did the photo shoot, and I told her at the photo shoot really quickly, because it was a quick thing, but I said, I wanted you to be the first to know that my dad just had his MRI yesterday. We didn't even tell family, and he is, and whatever I think it was like it was like his second year or first year, something like that, he was cancer free. Right. And I wanted her to be the first to know this. Like, we didn't even tell my family at the time, and she was like so happy to hear that. And then later that day, we ended up having the autograph session and that, and I wanted to tell her the story. I said, I'll be quick because I know you have a lot of people. She's like, you spent your money to meet me. Tell me what you got to tell me. Don't rush it. I'm like, thank you for that. And I told her the whole story. I told her how she helped me and everything like that. And she was starting to cry, and she screams out, does anybody have a freaking Kleenex? Right. So I told her the story and everything like that. And she autographed the book, and I showed her the picture that we got together. We did the hug pose, and she ended up looking at she ended up taking a picture of my book, and she took a picture of the picture of us together, and she put the picture of us together on her Instagram story, and had the text on, "This man," with 3 exclamation points. And she put that on her story, and I still have that saved. And I was getting ready to leave, and right when I was getting ready to leave, she goes, "Where are you going?" I'm like, I told you my story and everything. There's a lot of people behind. She goes, "You can't tell me that story and not get a hug." So she got up and gave me a hug, and like I'm very. Go ahead.
I love her too. I mean, that doesn't surprise me that she's a genuine person, and your story is a great story.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm a dad. Mm-hmm. I had a dad. Fathers and sons are always interesting stuff, interesting relationships,
Yeah, absolutely.
Good for you that you were able to work on it, and that Lana, brought you some. Mm-hmm. I mean, she represents love to me. Yeah. Like I always say, I was the first Evil Regal,
right?
Because I was on her fan club before you guys even saw the show. So, welcome to the club, buddy.
Absolutely. And my dad, and my dad goes, he's like, "Why would you classify me with an evil queen?" And I said, because if you watch the show as it goes on, like she gets her second chance.
She gets redemption.
She gets a redemption. And that's where, she had hope that she would, mend things with her son and, do all this, that, and the other. And that was the hope that you would have your second chance at life, and that this tumor and this cancer would not be the end of you. And he's still doing amazing now to this day.
How old is your dad?
He is 57, 58. Yep. He has what's called glioblastoma. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's a rare very aggressive brain tumor. So he has to wear an Optune device, which is it's like a device he puts on his head, and he has to have like this battery pack with him at all times. He has to wear 18 hours minimum a day, and whenever the cancer cells in his brain literally like starts to divide, radiation waves or whatever from the device will zap the cancer cells and literally kill them before they can grow another tumor in his brain. Which it's a very interesting technology, but
that's wild, dude.
Yeah, it really is.
And
then on top of that, he gets immunotherapy and all that. But
what's his name?
His name is Scott McCoy, the same as mine. I go by Scotty, but Scott McCoy.
Send my best to Scott, to the old man.
Definitely will. Definitely will. My dad's a fan of yours, especially from Seinfeld. That was our thing as a kid when I was growing up, all the way to this day. Like I live now 3 hours away from him, but I go home most weekends. So
where are you in Connecticut?
I'm in Maryland, and they're in Pennsylvania. So they're in northeastern Pennsylvania. So I drive home most weekends. I go home, and I'll drive 3 hours there on a Friday at either before I start work at I'll leave at like 2, 3 in the morning, and I'll end up going after work. I work till 11 on Fridays. That's my short day. Because I work 8.5 the rest. But I'll drive home, and then I'll stay until Sunday morning, and I'll come back Sunday morning. I'll drive another 3 hours, and I do it just to spend time with my dad, watch Seinfeld, and and he always laughs at your scenes, like even like when you're saying about boy, that Michael Jordan's so phony, just stuff like that, and like the parking space.
Thanks, man.
Yep, I'm like, Dad, do they really kill somebody in New York for a parking space? Like, they kill people for less. Anybody can kill people for less. Like people kill people for less. So people will kill for a parking spot.
I mean, there was one video somebody sent me about some people flipping over a parking spot just recently. And they sort of flip it, and then the guy does a U-turn. He ends up driving through the bakery. See if you can find that.
I have to look that up.
And he tries to gun it, and this guy steps aside, and the guy just drives right. The bakery had just opened.
Oh, I did see that. Oh my God, that was crazy. I think my dad mentioned it to me, or I mentioned it to him. I'm like, doesn't that remind you of the whole George Mike fiasco?
Somebody sent me that. Yeah, some Seinfeld people. I was like, yeah, dude.
That's crazy.
Oh my God, life is crazy enough, bro. It's just like,
it really is.
And so that's the beautiful thing, like to find the laughter.
Yeah,
that's kind of like a really important thing of why I say actors are important, because at the end of the day, like doing IT for the Coast Guard probably helps a lot more people than like being on a sitcom.
Yeah.
But when you need to be entertained because you're driving 3 hours to be with your dad who's got a serious brain tumor, right?
Yep.
When you need a laugh, when you need a hug, when you get the opportunity to meet someone who inspires you because her storyline is something you can, what I mean? That's where this comes in. But you got to put IT Coast Guard ahead. Yeah. You got to put teachers, nurses.
Right.
I mean, the pandemic didn't teach me that, but I knew that going into the pandemic, and maybe it taught it to other people, but it is. Because basically we are non-essential in terms of like the daily function. But if life without culture, without music, without storytelling, it's not a fun place to be.
Absolutely. Like it's depressing without it.
It's so depressing.
It really is. I was so depressed when the pandemic started happening, and then I ended up starting like the Slasher Scotty YouTube channel. Now I've been doing interviews since 2016, 2017, but they were originally meant for a horror encyclopedia book I was doing, hence the name Slasher Scotty. I was just interviewing people from that were in that book, like the franchises that were in that book, and interviewing them. But then I eventually expanded outside of horror recently with the pandemic to bring in people that I admire and people that that of shows I admire and all that stuff, and just to talk about it. And especially the pandemic's a good time to do it because it gives people a distraction from the everyday life of what's going on. And then I ended up doing original video content.
Like my take is like,
I
think we did the pandemic. think now it's all about, like, for my mind, people should get the vax.
Yep.
And let's get back to it. And we need to vaccinate the rest of the world too, so we can travel.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're all vaccinated. We got to get them to, like, we need to get to the places that need help.
Absolutely.
Our extras.
Yeah.
You know, and we got to follow the science. We got to value our education.
Absolutely.
There's a big mental health crisis in this country right now.
Yeah.
There's a big educational crisis in this country right now.
Absolutely.
These kids got screwed.
Yep. Yes, they did. They absolutely did. And I'm big on education. I taught for a couple semesters at my alma mater college, Champlain College. I was an online professor and I taught programming there. And that was all done online. And I also went to that college as online out after I transferred from my on-campus place. And it was hard enough for me doing it online, not having that in classroom environment. And I chose to do that. Imagine students that aren't even in college, like not just college students, but like actual children that are,
the lack of broadband, and the lack of devices and the lack of, the half the country's fine because there's the money to get the stuff, the families have it, and another half is under this poverty line where they don't have it.
Absolutely.
It's not going to help anything to have, like, I don't know. I think that is, so anyway, if whatever the message can be going forward, but we need to fix, people need hugs. We need help.
Yep, absolutely. And that's where
the more comedy is absolutely like.
Right. That's where people like yourself, and Lana and all them come into play. And I see a lot of celebrities just going live and doing live concerts and live Q&As with their fans.
Yeah. I think absolutely. Well, the world, we'll all it'd be fun to get back to a ball game, to go to a concert, to go out to dinner, just to go to a party, picnic.
Yeah, I miss just going to the movie theaters. I'm really hoping everything's going to be open by October. I want to see Halloween Kills. Next question I got for you is so would there be a story that wasn't done on the show that you would have liked to see have been done?
I never think that much about it, to be honest with you. But I would like to see, for me, the ultimate mashup would have been some Marvel characters.
That'd be nice.
I would have liked to see maybe some Star Wars characters.
Cool too.
I would have liked to see Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, that'd be
Colin.
awesome.
I think like that, but I think those are also kind of silly. But at the same time, I personally really like the Frozen.
I love Frozen
because I like the movie Frozen. I'm a fan, so like that one worked for me. I loved it. So that I would go there, but again, that's really shark jumpy and really maybe I would have done more musical episodes.
That was really a good episode. That was one of my questions, was what was it like and what was the choreography like with the musical? But before we get into that, I want to say that I think it would have been epic when you said Jack Sparrow, seeing a Captain Jack Sparrow versus a Captain Hook.
Yeah, that's yeah.
So how was the musical episode like? What was the choreography like? Was it a lot of work doing that? And
no, it was. I think if I remember correctly, I think we did most of it on the day.
Okay.
And figured it out. We might have rehearsed a little bit. I think. I don't think we had a dance call for that one.
Nice.
It was, we'd pre-recorded the songs, and then we kind of sang to the playback, and so there wasn't the pressure of live performance of it.
Absolutely.
I just remember it being fun every day of that particular. I always had fun almost every day shooting. That's the real secret to the business is, really enjoy it.
Yes.
It's not that hard. Good, but you gotta, you have to do the work, and sometimes emotionally, depending on what you're doing, it may not be the most fun thing to be sitting in a sad state all day.
Right.
But it's your job. But 90% of the time as an actor, you're able to check in where you need to check in, get what you need emotionally out of it, and still enjoy your day by being social and connecting with the people you work with and around you.
Absolutely. So, what do you prefer working as? A nice, regular grumpy dwarf, or do you like being the evil grumpy?
Oh,
What was
good,
the most fun to
good,
play?
good grumpy. I liked Leroy the best, actually.
Yeah.
I
He
liked
was.
his because I liked his costumes. I liked his jackets and I liked his
Yep.
hat and I liked the boots he wore. You know what I mean? It was I
Yes.
always felt that was a fun. I liked my look as Leroy a lot.
Yes.
And then Grumpy the hero was fun, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
I definitely a good guy. He's definitely a good guy. Way better. You know.
One of my favorite episodes, I think, is the Grumpy backstory, when he was known as Dreamy, and I really enjoy that episode because, especially like it was funny, like just between you and Jennifer Goodwin, you guys had like amazing chemistry and had some pretty funny comedy in there, like especially because you're attracted to this nun. And she's like, "Can you pick anybody less available?"
I know.
It was just the way she said it. It always has me laughing, but it was one of my favorite
She
episodes. It was
is
really well
epic,
done.
epic human being. Epic.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the next question I got for you, so after the curse was broken in season 1, we know that season 2 was picked up, obviously, but did you think that there would be a chance that it would survive with the curse already being broken, or do you think that that they would have enough information or enough like storytelling to actually create a great series? Because a lot of this people like season 1 because of Emma not believing it and then she's starting to believe it. You know what I mean? Like, do you think that it like obviously they did it justice, but do you think that they did it in a way? Did you think at the time like, okay, now that the curse is broken, we may not actually continue this into not 8 seasons, for example, 7
Oh,
seasons?
did I? I never thought that once. Not even for 1 second.
Nice. And
No, because first of all, I love Eddie and Adam, and their creativity is literally like they're mad like professors.
right.
So I don't think we ever scratched what their imagination
Right.
and the other writers on the show
And
ever.
the thing is with them, it's not like this was their first go around. I mean, Lost alone was, iconic. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
And Felicity and their whole thing. I mean,
yeah,
they're successful, smart cats,
yeah,
and so I always say that the show is about these magical, these fairy tale characters that get cursed in fairy tale, and then we're sent to this horrible place, modern day America,
yeah,
with no knowledge that we're magical.
right,
And then once we find out, we're trying to get home.
yeah,
So once the curse is broken, for me, the show just begins.
yeah. I was literally when I finished, like once I finished season 1 and the
Yeah.
curse was broken, I was like I might have watched maybe like 6 episodes straight up till just to finish season 1. And I said after season 1 I'm gonna take maybe maybe a 10 maybe 15-minute break just so I can get something to eat, get something to drink, whatever.
You're insane.
And I went right into season 2. I couldn't stop because I wanted to see what was gonna
See what
happen.
happened? Yeah, of course.
And
that's why binge watching is fantastic and why TV is the thing now.
Yeah.
Because you can keep, like a movie ends after 2 hours, but now
Yep.
you can binge your friends for 12 straight hours or more.
Absolutely. And I was a late bloomer in going into Once Upon a Time. I started when I believe season 5 was about to start. They were heavily promoting the 100th episode, the second half. So
yeah. I mean, I'll tell you something, that show probably picked up a lot of fans in pandemic too. That's the magic of these living in this world completely on Disney Plus or on Hulu or on Netflix or whatever, right? The fan can catch up. I'm shows I missed.
Yeah, absolutely.
God, I'm like, oh man, I never, I don't have that station. I'm going to watch it now. There it is.
Absolutely.
Right? So there are pluses to that for sure.
Absolutely. I know when I went to the convention in New Jersey, I was staying at a hotel maybe 15 minutes away, and I was like documenting my whole time because I knew this is the first one I was going to attend, and I didn't know if it was going to be the last because I believe the show was in its last season, so I didn't know if they were going to have any more conventions. So I was like documenting my whole time, and I was in line at the hotel breakfast, and this one girl and her mom was just looking at me and kind of smiling, and I'm thinking, are they thinking I'm a nutcase or something? Turns out they were at the same hotel for the convention, and we became good friends, and I am still friends with them this day. We talk a lot on Facebook. I text the mom's daughter almost every day. Like, it's really great, and we plan on actually meeting up again once the pandemic clears. Like, actually, like, clears where we're all vaccinated, and we can safely be together without the fear. And
well, I mean, the convention, so everything will come back to, get enough people vaccinated, we're good to go.
Absolutely. And I would absolutely love for another, like I know Creation Entertainment said I think the one I was at, or I think they said that was the last one, or it might have been the one after that. But either way, like, I think it would be great if Creation Entertainment, brings back, reunion with Once Upon a Time.
It's possible.
And it would be great if they did. I would definitely come back. I would obviously want to meet you again and meet Lana and give you guys the update, like, especially Lana, because I haven't spoken to her since the convention. So I would love to tell her, like, hey, you remember me, right? You have to remember my story. And I'll show her the Instagram story if I have to. And I'll be like, well, just an update. My dad, he's still cancer-free after all these years later. That would be awesome. Next question I got for you. I only have a couple more left. So did you know that the series would be going the way it did, utilizing different characters from Disney throughout? Or did you think it was just going to be like the same characters that were in from season 1, even season 2 and all that?
I knew they would keep bringing in new characters from what I could tell from the start, that was the thing.
Right.
And yeah, like I say, I mean, honestly, those scripts were always just as much fun for us to read as anybody else to watch.
Right.
Just, and it's healthy to have be excited about something like that.
Yeah.
And to give it the energy that it needs, the support.
Absolutely.
Right. So their creativity was, I didn't try ever to put any kind of limitation on what I thought they would do. I was just happy to be on the team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just
and
all my number, I want to get in the game. That's how I am as an actor. I want to play. I'll try stuff. I've played a lot of different roles, and I like trying to be on the team.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I honestly can't think of an episode of the show that I don't like. I mean, I might have episodes that are my favorite or that I like better, but I enjoy every single episode. And that's how you know you have a talented cast, a talented crew, but more importantly, a talented writing team. Because it all goes to the writing team. Like, I mean, if the show fails or flops or whatever, it's the dialogue, the story, the creators, the writing team. The writing team really was genuinely great. Like, they had the material and they made it work.
For sure. And
even the Frozen story, the casting was amazing. Like, you looked amazing as Grumpy. Elsa looked amazing as Elsa. They literally look like the counterparts.
Yeah, that's great.
So next question I got for you. We know that you're obviously Grumpy in the show, or Leroy. But based on the fairy tale counterparts of all 7 dwarves, which one are you yourself most like personality-wise?
Grumpy.
You're Grumpy?
Fuck yeah. I wasn't acting. I wasn't acting ever.
That's awesome. So last question.
I'm not that good. It's not that good.
Yes, you are. So last question I got for you is all about Lee in this one. Any projects in the works that you'd like to tell the viewing and listening audience about, or any websites and social media accounts you would like to promote?
I mean, you can always find me under my name on, the Gram or Twitter or whatever, Lee Arenberg. I'm going to have some stuff to promote soon. We got to get back to work here.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of Zoom theater and kind of just messing around, keeping myself busy, kind of waiting for everyone to go back to work. But
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm due to land something, so stay tuned.
Absolutely. I'm sure you have an IMDb page. So anybody listening to this or watching this, make sure to check out Lee's IMDb page to see what he's up to after this is
see
over.
what I'm up to. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, brother.
Well, thank you so much, Lee, for joining me.
I really enjoyed it, my friend. And best to you. Thanks for what you do for the U.S. Coast Guard. I live on the beach. I love my coasties. I'm in the water a lot. I live on the beach, right?
Nice.
So, there's a big station right here near me, and I live just off like where a national park is, like islands, the Channel Islands National Park. So there's diving. So the Coast Guard's out there. They were the ones invested. That was where that boat had the big fire with all the divers inside.
Oh,
right.
Wow.
I'm charging the cell phones. Too many cell phone batteries.
Yep. I live in Woodlawn, Maryland, and I'm located in my office is located in Curtis Bay, which is about maybe 20 minutes away from where I live. Yeah.
Pretty cool. It's beautiful over there.
It really is. It really is. I'm like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours away from Ocean City, Maryland, which is really cool too.
It always trips me out that Maryland only has like 10 miles of coastline.
I know,
like
right?
actual coastline, because it's all the bay. It's all Chesapeake.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a trip.
My dad wants to come down here and visit me and like go to see the Chesapeake Bay and all that as well. Beautiful. Yeah, so that would be nice. It would be nice to.
My mom's from Baltimore, so I know it well.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. Yeah, nice. Well, I thank you, Lee, so much. It's been an
honor. Thank you, buddy. I really enjoyed it. You stay safe out there.
You do the same. Thank you so much.
All right, all the best. Take care. Bye.
You too. Bye.